Hello. Hi, y'all. My name is Brenda Hogan, and this is my video to explain some of the key features and reasons for my proposed essay. And the essay title is A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far Away, Storytelling in Crafting Theology and Meaning Making. So I'm going to talk about narrative theology or storytelling. And some of the features of my essay will be explaining some of the history of narrative theology. It clearly is in the Bible. The church has been using narrative theology throughout the centuries. We learned about, hundreds of years ago, we learned about theology through the lives of the saints. We have a history of stained glass windows in which those who are not literate can hear Bible stories and see Bible stories. So story has been part of our history in the church. Also, I'm going to talk a little bit about how just even in our nation, storytelling has influenced how people make moral judgments, how we have become who we are, and a little bit of background on that. So then I will move on to why we do narrative theology. Why do we tell stories? And I think a big reason is it's accessible to both the people who are telling the story or writing the story, as well as the person who is either listening or reading the story. It is very accessible, and it is it sucks you in. A good story sucks you in, and then it makes you think. In a sermon which she gave a little bit before the book Call It Grace came out, she told about how she was asked to write this book, and that it would be about theology for the everyday person. And she had planned to write about certain people. Of course, Calvin was one. But as she sat down to write, all these stories of her past and her family just poured out. And she realized that this needed to incorporate these stories, and that these difficult stories as well as these difficult concepts could be paired together in order to understand better how theology affects us in our everyday lives. Another aspect of accessibility of story and narrative theology is that I heard this quote, and I have not yet found the origin of it, but I'm tracking it down, in which Americans learn history by watching Steven Spielberg movies. And we do. I mean, there's a lot of historical events that once you put them into a movie and turn them into a story, people suddenly are interested in them. And so that is another reason for my title of A Long Time Ago in a Galaxy Far Away, because a lot of fictional stories hold meaning for people. And there are probably a lot of folks who could tell you about Star Wars or Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. And the Bible can be a very useful narrative in order to get people interested in ministry. And I have to figure that out a little bit more, but a way to use narrative and storytelling to make those stories relevant to today. So that comes up to my third feature, which is, what does this mean for ministry today? Using narrative theology. What does it mean in pastoral care? How are we to implement it more than just a funny story in our sermons, in the proclamation? And how do we use narrative theology in Christian education in order to teach and also for us as ministers and Christian educators to learn ourselves more. So those are some of the points of ministry that narrative theology can affect. Also, I will use some of my own stories and talk about how, like Jones, there are people who are long dead, who are from places I've never been, and yet they have shaped me. They have helped me become who I am today, where I am today, and I am still in conversation with them still today, even though I've not met some of them. And I think that's evident, not just in our own personal stories, but one of the texts that I'm reading for this is by H. Richard Niebuhr, Meaning of Revelation, and he talks about story. And this book itself that I ordered is actually older than me, so wow, it's pretty old. But we're still learning and growing from people who are long gone, and story can help us in order to make meaning. So I chose this topic. Ooh, I'm getting over. Because I believe in practical theology. I believe that theology matters in our day-to-day lives, and hypothetical questions of theology, things like that hypothetical question of how many angels can dance on the head of a pin, doesn't matter. It does not matter. But what matters is, where is God active in my life? How am I to better follow God's intentions for my life? And I think in our current world of technology, with movies, with TikTok videos, with YouTube videos, narrative theology is a very effective tool. Humans are wired for story, and with the tools that we have in technology right now, I think that this is a great opportunity for meaning making in the church today. So anyway, that's my essay, and I'm pretty excited about it because this narrative theology that Jones uses is right up my alley. I think it's such a great tool, and I love that she has used it. So anyway, I look forward to reading your comments, and have a great day.